Hello, everyone. This is a Donaram Monologue podcast. I am your host, Bo, and today, as always, we will be discussing the viability and importance of video games as an artistic medium, and also that they're just wicked cool. And right now, you're probably seeing a lot in the news about nurses and what nurses go through and what a nurse does. Obviously, we're going through a time when nurses are very much needed. And if you're interested in learning more about nursing, achieving a higher education there, insight into what a life is like as a nurse, then we strongly suggest you check out Ashley Luann Kay on YouTube. You can find a link to her channel at rallynetwork.net or by searching Ashley Luann Kay on YouTube. Coming at you again from my son's bedroom before he goes to sleep with another social distancing edition of the Donaram Monologue podcast. That is a monologue right now because I cannot make it out to do podcasts because we are under a shelter-at-home order here in Indiana, and I know that certain states are opening back up, out of their shelter-at-homes. And some people say it's too soon. I don't have enough information. I want to lean towards it being too soon because that's what a lot of experts are saying. But for those of you listening outside of America, I know we have a couple of listeners from outside the United States. We're not great at listening to experts. But if you've listened to the show, we talk about video games, but we don't. We talk about the way video games affected us and everything, but I mention a lot of times I have a very hard rule, and that is my first metric for measuring whether or not I like a video game is whether or not it's fun. I am very much a stickler for that. I believe in that full-heartedly. I will not go back on that. I want that to be central to what I do. I will not go through a video game that's not fun, no matter how good someone tells me the story is or whatever. If I don't enjoy playing it, I'm not going to suffer through that for whatever else they've put in this game. It's not my style. So I don't want us to be confused with, these people that are deep for the sake of being deep about video games. We don't like these games for the sake of them being deep. We like them because they genuinely are. And they're done so well as to sort of sneak this stuff on you through a fun video game. And so this isn't an epic Reddit moment guy who wears Chuck Taylors with his suit and a bow tie to the wedding, because he's different, guys. He doesn't go by your rules, that sort of thing. Everyone finds that really annoying. And following that, Adam earlier this week sent me a horrible article, which was like, when are we going to admit that Animal Crossing is a bad game made for children, or something like that. Which, of course, some of the absolute most brilliant and greatest games of all time were made for children. The Legend of Zelda was made with children in mind. Super Mario Brothers was made with children in mind. These games revolutionized the way we play video games. Almost every video game you're playing can trace its design lineage back far enough to its most basic elements to one of those two games. So the idea that because something's made for children that is bad is ridiculous. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Hobbit for his children. Absurd to think that something is bad because it's made for children. So to make that equation already in that headline, I was already not sold. And then I saw the publication. I'm not going to name the publication, but needless to say, it was a business publication. And those have no right commenting on video games unless they want to comment on the industry. That's fine. But actually how it plays and everything, if you know what, like the same guy writing about stock portfolios doesn't need to be writing about art. If you excuse me, I'm going to get a little huffy there about that, but it's true. Don't do it. If your expertise lies here, your expertise probably does not lie here. I would be extremely interested to read a book about astrophysics by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I would not care very much to read a book by him about, say, theoretical mathematics. Or actually, no, that probably overlaps a little bit. You'll understand that. That's a breach of word. Perhaps biology. He might not be that great at biology because his expertise lies elsewhere. Do you see what I'm saying? When your expertise lies in one area, it doesn't matter how good you are at that one area. That doesn't mean we have to believe that you're good at something else. So why this magazine was writing about a video game in the first place, I have no idea. But anyway, this is a ridiculous argument that, and basically what it was saying in the article was that there's not enough content. Games don't have to be packed full of itty-bitty little insignificant things to do. Like, for instance, a great example I can think of is Assassin's Creed 2. You had that whole fort and all these equipment upgrades and everything, but as long as a game that all got tedious and stupid. It got to the point where you're like, I really just want to assassinate someone. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's, that's where Animal Crossing is never tedious. It's always fun. Like, it's just a fun, charming little game. And you might get to the point where you're not playing it 8 hours a day like you were right when it launched. But I guarantee you a year from now, you're still probably going to be checking in. I know I did that with New Leaf for years. It's like Pokemon, or like I mentioned earlier, The Legend of Zelda. Most people play that game frequently. You could do it in like, I don't know, a matter of hours. So I'll blow through it about 3 or 4 times a year because it's just a joy to play. It's just fun. And that's the central point to video games. Like, and look at the greatest athletes in the history of the sport. Yes, there was hard work. Yes, there was, dedication and all that. Of course. But what motivated them to do all that? Basically, what made them want to? Because I'm going to venture a guess that no one picks up a basketball saying, I'm going to become rich doing this. Almost no one does. In fact, everyone I knew in high school that thought that didn't do anything with it. Most of the greatest athletes in history, it's for the love of the game. It's because they love the game they're playing. And I think that's... I don't know that that's the case with esports players, because I don't read many... As much as I love esports, I don't sit down and read interviews with them very often, because those are very rare in mainstream publications. You kind of got to dig for those, but... That's just, like... It's... You do things because you enjoy doing them. That's the bottom line. I told, when we first started this, we're getting sponsors now. Things are moving pretty fast over here at Donoram, but if it was moving so fast that it wasn't fun anymore, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. And video games are no different. The reason people play video games is because they have fun playing video games. And that should always be the case. I know this accusation, and what's funny is they always want to use this the other way around, because Gone Home, I remember that came out, and this leads me to another point. When Gone Home came out, people hated it. I love this game. I really liked this game, and I went into it without any pretense. I didn't read anything about it, because that's where people do themselves in nowadays. I hear people all the time like, I spoiled it for me, but I spoiled it for myself, but I'm still going to play it. Quit doing that. For once, think of how the developer wants you to experience this game and pick it up and just play it for what it is. Just go into it blind. Skyrim, I think I've mentioned this on the show before. When Skyrim came out, I went months avoiding everything. I still don't know how certain quest lines end because I still haven't read anything about the game. Every time I walk into Skyrim, the only knowledge I want of the game is what I had going into it. I did the same with Morrowind. Morrowind just happens to be a game I play more frequently because it's a better game, in my opinion, and by every stretch of the word. So, I know a few Yu-Gi-Oh players that are extremely good Yu-Gi-Oh players. They're extremely good at it. The difference between them and the guys that I've noticed that aren't, are the guys that are good love it more. That's the bottom line. One of the best Pokemon players I know, one of the best competitive Pokemon players, Actually, I probably was right saying Poke players. Anyway, one of the best competitive Pokemon players I've ever met loves Pokemon. He's got them tattooed. He's got different Pokemon tattooed all over his body. He just genuinely loves the series and everything about it. So, if we got to sit and listen to a baseball Hall of Famer every time prattle on and on about the love of the game, we should keep that in mind when we're playing video games. Like, every time I sit down and play a game, no matter what it is, I catch myself just holding the controller in my hand and just like remembering that kid sitting on the edge of his bed staring at a CRT television, up past his bedtime. I mean, video games connect me with a part of myself before the weight of the world was crashing down around me. No, I have a great life. But you guys get what I'm saying. It's some people when they're stressed out like to drink. I myself don't do that really anymore. Some people like to hit a gym. I myself don't do that nearly as much as I should. I love to just catch a random match on Halo. It just relaxes me because it's just pure fun and enjoyment. And this article was just like, the article was basically saying the game was bad because all it was fun. And that's absurd because that's all it needs to be. Everything else in a game, everything, including these deep narratives that me and Don discuss, our entire Xenogears podcast, the entire series, I love that series. I adore it. I'm going to jump in head first when this is over, back and talk about Xenogears with you guys. But everything that me and Don have talked about so far, I think I may have mentioned actual gameplay a couple of times, but everything we've talked to you about on that has been bonus. It was a bonus in the game. The primary thing of Xenogears that makes it great is it has a great battle system and a cool world to explore, and it's fun to do that. That's the bottom. I mean, that's that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. That is absolutely why you should play video games, and I'm not very ashamed to admit that's what I stand for. I don't know what the other guys at Don Rom stand for. For all I know, Don does love video games just from a purely academic standpoint, but for this fella, I'm always going to play him because it's the same reason, your kid likes to go and pitch a baseball, or hit a baseball, or roll a baseball at some sticks he made bowling pins out of because he wanted to go bowling, but you told him no. Anyway, that's just something that was on my mind today because of an article I saw earlier this week. And guys, just stay safe, and we'll be back to normal soon, I promise.